Welcome to King Lizard's Game Lounge and my first impressions video of Battlefield 1 from EA. Now, all of the footage here is taken from the recent open beta, therefore it is not the final product and obviously is subject to change between now and October 28th. That said, what I did see during the course of the 17 level ups I played for this game, I put quite a few hours into this, was a really competent shooter, real competent FPS. Really enjoyed what I saw here. I felt that, the gameplay was just about right, to be honest, for me. It seemed to be slightly easier than your standard Battlefield experience. I would say from a gameplay perspective, this kind of sits somewhere between Battlefield 4 and Battlefront for me, because it is just that little bit easier to get on with the game and get on with the controls. For instance, a good example is the sniping in this game seems to be, at closer range at least, a lot more direct line of sight as opposed to previous Battlefields where you had to take into account your distance and your arc and various other things. So don't be surprised if you don't see some backlash from hardcore Battlefield players because of that change. But that said, sniping at distance still requires some great skills. I felt that there was a really good feel to the game. It did feel like I was playing in the era. Obviously, some of the vehicles and stuff, were obviously a lot faster than what they really were at the time, and that's fine, obviously, because let's be honest, if it was boring and we were doing a mile an hour in a tank, we probably wouldn't even get in the tank, we'd walk. So, there are some historical inaccuracies, that's for sure, but obviously it's a product designed at entertainment, and let's be honest, the real World War I definitely wasn't entertaining. A lot of people lost their lives. But remember, this is a game. It's not trying to disrespect anyone that fought the World War. It's just trying to create an immersive squad-based first-person shooter in the World War I era. What better franchise could you ask for than Battlefield? Let's be honest. I mean, for me, Battlefield was always about immersion and actually feeling like you're in a squad and you're fighting as a team of people against the enemy. It really does give you that feeling that you're in a battle. There's just so much going on around you. You literally need eyes in the back of your head. Single player, you can get by, but to be honest, if you're going to succeed in Battlefield, you need to be in a squad and work well. Going back to the historics, trying to work out exactly when this is in World War I. For me, I'm pretty certain this must be either late 1915 or 1916. I suspect it's 1916. That's what it seemed like. And the reason I say that is because obviously the Wright brothers invented flight in 1903, or airplane flight in 1903, and the first planes were used in war in 1915. Initially just for reconnaissance and stuff, and then bombing, and then eventually they actually got mounted machine guns. Initially, people were actually throwing grenades and stuff at each other in the air and shooting each other with rifles, which obviously they weren't very successful at. Just that guy flying off the tank there, that was an awesome bit of animation. But later on in life, obviously, they couldn't be shooting rifles at each other in the sky, flying a plane, throwing grenades and stuff. It's just never going to work, so they created the mounted machine gun, and obviously one of the first obstacles they had to get over was shooting the propellers off the plane, and the Germans created something called interrupter, which allowed the gun and the propeller to synchronize between each other so that the pilot didn't shoot his own propeller off and obviously take himself out of the sky. And that, I don't know if that got stolen by the Allied forces or whether it was something we also kind of invented our own version of later on in the war, but based on the fact that the Germans created their own in 1915, I suspect we're seeing it across the board here on all planes, so I suspect very much this is around about 1916. Battlefield 1 obviously introduces for the first time horses in warfare, obviously due to the era really horses were used in wartime, and it's quite tough as a foot soldier to tackle horses. They're going to be the foot soldier's worst enemy. I got hacked down quite a few times by riders in close quarters with me. Obviously the distance, you do stand a bit of a chance to take them out, but generally most people are going to have their sabers out when they're riding towards you to hack you down, which means they're going to be unarmed, and shooting on the horse is no fun at all. Initially when you get on the horse you will pull out a kind of battle rifle for, you know, mid-distance shooting and stuff. However, let's be honest, if you get on a horse you're going to want to hack people down. The first thing you're going to do is get rid of that battle rifle, stow it away in the back of the horse, press that Y button, and out comes a saber, and then you're going to charge straight into the fray and try and take out as many foot soldiers as you can with that saber. That's reality in this game. Obviously not reality in the war, because you wouldn't want to do that, but it is just a game, as I said. So, but the horse animations and stuff and the feel of the horses are absolutely fantastic. Really, really love that, and it, you know, just adds another level to the gameplay, and it was quite an enjoyable one. The horse is actually a really good mode of transportation in the game. It's actually obviously one of the most versatile in terms of being able to move and turn on the spot quicker. It's also a pretty quick mode of transportation, probably not as quick as the armoured car or the jeep, but it's, you know, not far off of that, and it's a really great way of traversing the map. As I said, with your saber out, it's even better because you can hack down the old soldier here and there. A horse, a kingdom for my horse. Here's that horse section I was telling you about that I chucked in here for you guys. So out comes the saber, press the Y, straight into the fray, run these guys down. Luckily that tank was there, so I kind of used that tank as a bit of a guide to keep me in line with that guy as I hacked him down. And then literally ride up to this guy who was one of the enemy and chase him down and hack him down as well. You can perform a jump there. There you go, a couple of the guys there out of the way, and then I see another victim in the distance. That saber's out, and I'm going to run this dude down. There we go. He said me, it's too late. he's toast. But it was really, really good fun, you know, getting on this horse and just, you know, riding into battle. You are quite, as I said, quite vulnerable to vehicles and stuff, and also obviously to snipers and stuff, as long as they're good snipers, because you can move pretty quick on this thing. But it's a great way of getting around the map as well. So you'll see me here ride into this area which is actually being guarded, and, you know, do an assault on it on my own. On the subject of vehicles, there were a reasonable variety of vehicles available in the beta, and we had armoured cars, we had tanks. In the British side, those tanks probably would have been Mark 1 or Mark II tanks. I know Mark 3 never actually saw action, they were just training vehicles, and then Mark 4 didn't come into World War I until around, it was about 1917, and that was because the Mark 4 tank was developed because the armour on the Mark 1 and Mark 2 was basically penetrated by some special German armor-piercing bullets. So they actually found a way of, you know, getting through our tanks with ammunition, if you like. So the Mark IV was developed to have stronger armor in order to counter the Germans' newly created armor-piercing ammunition. Unfortunately, across all the matches that I did in order to rank up 17 times, not once was I able to select a plane as a pilot. Every time I got into the plane, I landed up being the secondary gunner or the kind of middle gunner, if you like. On some of the planes, there are 3 seats that you can have in order to, you know, attack the ground, if you like. So there's kind of a mid-gunner seat that attacks the ground, and there's a rear gunner who obviously does air defense and tries to keep other enemy pilots off of your tail. I'll be honest, it was really, really tough trying to shoot enemies from behind using that rear gunner turret, because you just don't know what the pilot in front is thinking or what he's doing, and therefore you cannot successfully predict in many cases the direction that the pilot behind is taking in order to get your gunfire in front of him. So it's quite a tough deal. I mean, I'm sure with practice over time I'll get used to it. The feel of it in the air was really, really good. It did really feel quite unique, and it felt quite exciting as well. So I'm really looking forward to getting my hands on some of the planes that Battlefield 1 has to offer when the game officially releases on October 28, 2016. So here's one of those Mark 1, Mark II tanks in action, taking out enemy troops. Now, you'll see here, for instance, I rank up. So this was a promotion I received. Every time you got promoted, you get war bonds, and those war bonds can be used to unlock equipment for your soldier or your classes. Now, there were a handful of guns, you know, rifles, sniper rifles, pistols, submachine guns, immediately available for use, but you could actually use your war bond money that you've earned during your various rank ups in the game to purchase some of those additional weapons. Now, on the very last day of beta, which is today, I'm doing this video, so I didn't actually get a chance to dig in deep with that. They did actually open all the weapons, I believe, just so that people can get a real feel for everything that's available in the game. But to be honest, the weapons that I saw and I played with were very authentic for the time. They felt really good, they felt meaty, they felt like I was firing something, and I really enjoyed using them. Some of them were trickier than others, obviously because of their faster fire rates or inaccuracies and various other things. So the classes in the game are pretty much the same as they usually are. You've got support, assault, medic and scout. In addition, you'll automatically switch to a pilot class depending on what you're doing, whether you're flying or driving a tank. But for the first time ever in the Battlefield game, there are now elite classes. And I only actually saw one of these in action during the beta, and that was the flame guy. There's basically a guy that was walking around with a flamethrower torching everyone in sight. Unfortunately, my video wasn't running at that time, so I missed it, but he was the only elite player I saw during the beta, so I suspect it's probably someone that played a hell of a lot and got to a specific rank to unlock that class and experiment with it. That's what I suspect, so I think it'll be something to do with the level you get to in the game that will allow you to obviously unlock those elite characters. But quite impressive, and you'll even see a clip in here where I'm putting someone out of their misery who's on fire. I didn't realise at the time that's what happened to them, but it probably was. One of the other things I noticed during the beta was that the tank damage is not as much as it would be normally in a Battlefield game, and that could be obviously because of the age of these vehicles. They're just not as powerful as some of the more modern tanks. And one example was I was in one of the build-up buildings in this area around Checkpoint C, that particular building there actually, and someone had obviously spotted me in a tank and they were shooting the crap out of the building I was in, and it did do some damage to the building. Here's that guy I was talking about, just put out of his misery, look, on fire. How cool is that? Brilliant. It's the kind of thing that you see in Battlefield that kind of just drags you into the game and immerses you just a little bit more. These little bits of detail that the developers have put into the game, and it's not nice obviously to see someone burning to death, but at the same time when you're playing a shoot 'em up, you're looking for excitement, you're looking for something out of the ordinary, and that was just straight out of a movie for me. Absolutely amazing. Forgive me, I got sidetracked, that was so cool. But going back to that tank damage I was on about, so the tank damage itself, I mean, they took like 4 good shots, direct hits on this building that I was in, and the building shook to crap, and there was damage that was induced on the building, but it wasn't what I would call critical damage to the building. It did sustain damage, and I was able to stay safe inside the building, which is good as a troop, because obviously if someone's driving around in a tank, you're doomed if you're not the right class, e.g. a scout, for instance, who carries explosives, or an engineer like this guy who's using those anti-armoured vehicle grenades on me. Now, the map we got to play during the beta is the Sinai Desert map. There are actually 5 maps listed on the official Battlefield.com website. I noticed this is one of them. Good map, I've really enjoyed it. I think it's got a bit of everything for everyone. So there are lots of areas for snipers to kind of camp out, to do their thing. There are lots of kind of little runways and areas to kind of get yourself behind and get cover if you're one of these, soldiers who like to run around on foot, place to place, and just taking out the odd enemy here and there, or making captures. This is the new bayonet charge that they've introduced as a melee. That's quite nasty. Had that done to myself a few times too. If the Sinai Desert map is anything to go by for the rest of the maps in this game, we're going to be in for a real treat. This is a massive map. And as I said, it's got a lot of different areas to cater for a lot of different game playing styles. If you like flying, there's tons of airspace to fly around in and take out other planes or attack enemy troops on the ground. If you're into tanks and driving around, there's tons of area, to immerse yourself in and investigate and get to the various checkpoints and stuff. If you're a foot soldier, it's a long walk. You might want to grab a horse here and there, or a vehicle, and just get yourself around the map to the various checkpoints and do what you need to do. But the other thing with the Sinai Desert map was they introduced at some point, I believe, during updates. One day it was just sand, the next day it was sandstorms, quite frequently as well at one point. And the sandstorms are absolutely amazing. However, you really don't want to get caught out in the middle of the desert with a sandstorm because you cannot see a bloody thing. It really is a great special effect. And you know, in terms of summing this up, for my first impressions of Battlefield 1 are very positive. I really enjoyed this experience, even though I spent, you know, a considerable number of hours playing this game and ranking up to level 17. I honestly felt there was just a ton of stuff I still hadn't done on this one map alone, and I was still enjoying it. So for me, you know, this game is an awesome addition to the Battlefield series. I think it's one that's been, you know, a long time coming. I think we're all getting a little bit tired of the future war aspect that, you know, kind of COD is putting into play. Obviously that didn't receive very good feedback recently. I'm not by any means an anti-COD person, so trust me, I play COD, I like COD. I don't have the problems a lot of the gaming community have with COD. I just find it, you know, generally, you know, quite samey, shall we say. But with Battlefield, I always just feel that Battlefield just represents exactly that, the battlefield. It feels like you're in a battle. It feels like, you know, the odds are stacked against you. There's just so much going on, especially now that we've got 64 players on a map at any one time. And if I was to score this out of 10, I'd easily give it a 9 out of 10 for a beta experience. My pre-order is firmly in place, and I'll be joining you guys on the Battlefield come October 28th. 2016. Please be kind enough to rate the video. If you're not a subscriber, it'd be fantastic if you could click that sub button and join King Lizard's Game Lounge. Everyone is welcome. In addition, I'd love to hear your comments and feedback and experiences on the Battlefield 1 open beta. Did you love it? Did you hate it? If you did hate it, what did you hate about it? What do you think they can do to improve it? I'm really keen to see your guys' feedback, so if you can leave me some comments under the video, that would be fantastic, as well as any comments you've got about this video. I've actually used some new editing software to put this together. I'm trying to get a little bit better representation in my videos, a little bit more special effects and intros and various other things going on, so I'm also very keen on hearing your feedback on those changes. Enjoy the rest of the video. I'll take this opportunity to thank you guys for watching the video. Take care, keep well, keep watching, and come back soon.
We have lost objective.
An enemy medic!
Losing objective Freddy.
That's an enemy scout! Shock trooper!
We have taken objective Freddy.
Look lively! Enemy shock trooper!
We have taken a... We have lost objective Duff. We are losing objective George. We have taken